Bombshell at the Arsenal. Is Ben White leaving? Everton targeting 2 Arsenal players, and the Marc Guehi race just got crazy with Bayern making new moves. If you think this is just another slow January, you're dead wrong. What's up, Gooners? Real quick before we dive in, smash that like button right now because it genuinely helps us bring you more Arsenal content like this every single day. Appreciate you. Right, let's get into these massive stories because Arsenal's January is heating up way more than anyone expected. Let's start with Ben White because this story shows exactly where Arsenal are mentally right now as league leaders. Everton have been sniffing around Ben White this January. The Toffees are desperate for a right back with Seamus Coleman and Jared Branthwaite both injured, and they thought they spotted an opportunity with White's reduced game time this season. Here's the context. White has only made 13 appearances all season, just 4 of those in the Premier League. That's a massive drop for a guy who cost £50 million and made 134 appearances in his first 3 years here. The reason? Jurrien Timber has absolutely nailed down that right-back spot and isn't giving it up. Plus, when Arsenal need defensive cover, we've got Saliba and Gabriel as the untouchable centre-back partnership. And to make things even more complicated for White, we signed Christian Mosquera and Piero Hincapié last summer. Both have been excellent. White's pathway to consistent minutes is genuinely blocked right now, so Everton were reportedly waiting in the wings, ready to pounce if Arsenal showed any willingness to do business. They even had backup targets lined up, Genoa's Brooke Norton-Cuffy and Sevilla's Juanlu Sanchez, but White was clearly their first choice. Here's what happened. According to Football London, Arsenal have zero interest in letting White leave this January. Zero. Not even a conversation worth having. Arsenal are runaway Premier League leaders right now, pushing on 4 fronts: League, Champions League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup. Weakening or destabilising the squad by losing White is simply not an option. And here's what's interesting. Despite the lack of game time, White remains a focal part of Mikel Arteta's plans. Listen to what Arteta said after White played well against Brentford last month. He praised White's attitude as so positive and so good, said the team is very happy for him and that Arsenal are going to need him because he's a tremendous player. White got a rare start against Portsmouth in the FA Cup on Sunday, played 69 minutes before Timber replaced him, and Arteta was crystal clear: when White gets his opportunity, he takes it. First thing as a defender, he defends with purpose, determination and efficiency. Then he adds value with the ball through passing, movement and quality deliveries. The plan seems clear. Arsenal will reassess White's future at the end of the season, not in January. His contract runs until June 2028 with an option for another year. And given White hasn't regressed at all since arriving 4.5 years ago, if Arsenal do sell, they'll want close to that $50 million back. This is smart squad management from a club that's learned not to weaken during a title race. Now let's talk about the Marc Guehi situation because this transfer race is absolutely wild right now. Sky Sports are reporting that Arsenal are firmly in the race for Guehi. And here's the key detail: there's no frontrunner. The race is wide open. It all comes down to what the player wants. And right now, he's weighing up his options carefully. 4 massive clubs are in this battle: Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City and Bayern Munich, each offering something different. Let me break down what's happening with each. Manchester City want him this month, January. Right now, they've got defensive injuries, Ruben Dias and Josko Gvardiol both out, and they're desperate. But here's the problem for City. They'd need to make Crystal Palace an offer that's too good to turn down mid-season. Palace are fighting relegation. Selling their captain and best defender in January? That's a tough ask unless the money is absolutely ridiculous. Liverpool are pushing hard, but specifically for a free transfer next summer. They actually agreed a £35 million deal on deadline day last summer, so we know they rate him highly. Liverpool have told Guehi exactly how he'd fit in at Anfield and what their plans are for him. They're playing the long game here, trying to convince him that waiting until summer and joining them is the smart move. Then there's Bayern Munich. And this is where it gets really interesting. Bayern are the only club who can legally speak to Guehi right now about a summer move because he's in the final 6 months of his contract. According to Sky Sports Germany reporter Florian Plettenberg, Bayern Director of Sport Max Eberl has made new calls in recent days, trying to convince Guehi of a move to Bavaria. Ebel and Guehi's agent already met a few weeks ago. Bayern are not giving up despite all the Premier League competition. They're offering Champions League football, the Bundesliga, a chance to play for one of Europe's biggest clubs. That's a strong pitch. And then there's Arsenal. Now this is fascinating because we just tied down both Gabriel and William Saliba to new long-term contracts. We have the best defensive record in the Premier League, just 14 goals conceded in 21 matches. We've had the fewest goals conceded in the league for the last 2 seasons running. So why do we want Guehi? Same answer as before with the Saliba situation. Planning ahead, smart recruitment. If Saliba does eventually move to Real Madrid, Arsenal need a world-class replacement ready. If Gabriel picks up a long-term injury, we need someone of genuine quality to step in. Guehi provides that elite-level insurance. The player himself is taking his time. No rush. He's got 4 incredible options on the table. Palace manager Oliver Glasner recently admitted Guehi could leave this month if the right offer comes. But the smart money says this drags into summer when he's a free agent and can maximise his wages and signing bonus. For Arsenal, this is about being in the conversation now, so when decision time comes, we're front of mind. We can offer immediate Premier League title challenges, Champions League football, playing in London where he's already settled, and potentially replacing or partnering with one of the best defenders in the world in Saliba. That's a compelling package. Final story, Everton aren't done with Arsenal yet. After being told no on Ben White, they're now looking at Ethan Nwaneri. According to journalist Ben Jacobs, Everton have taken a look at our Hale End wonder kid. Now, before anyone panics, this would obviously be a loan move, not permanent. Nwaneri signed a new contract just last August. Arsenal aren't selling him. But a loan, that's worth discussing. Here's Nwaneri's situation. He's struggled for game time this season. Mikel Arteta is leaning on experienced options because we're fighting on 4 fronts. We're top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League table, got a Carabao Cup semi-final against Chelsea and still in the FA Cup. Every game matters. Arteta can't afford to rotate as much as he might like. Plus the summer signings of Eberechi Eze and Noni Madueke have made things even harder for Nwaneri. More competition for those attacking spots. The kid is talented, incredibly talented, but breaking into this Arsenal team right now is genuinely difficult. Nwaneri got a rare start against Portsmouth in the FA Cup at weekend, and Arteta was honest about the situation afterwards. He said Nwaneri deserved that start, but because of the strength of the squad and the players in his positions, he hasn't been able to play much. When he does get his chance though, Arteta said he had very good minutes. Now, would a loan make sense? There are arguments both ways. On one hand, Nwaneri needs games. He's 18 years old. This is when you develop by playing men's football week in, week out. A loan to Everton or Fulham where he'd get proper Premier League minutes could be hugely beneficial for his development. Fulham are also interested according to Jacobs, but they want a permanent signing to help convince Marco Silva to sign a new deal. That rules them out. Sunderland are exploring it too, but they see him more as a squad player than a starter, which defeats the purpose. Everton makes sense on paper. David Moyes is there. Good manager who develops young players. Premier League football. Decent team fighting for European spots. Nwaneri could get 15 to 20 appearances between now and May. But here's the counter-argument. Arsenal are competing for everything. Injuries happen. Suspensions happen. Form drops. Arteta might suddenly need Nwaneri for a crucial game in March or April. If he's on loan at Everton, we can't recall him mid-season in most loan deals. That's a risk Arsenal might not want to take. My gut feeling? Arsenal keep him unless a truly perfect loan opportunity emerges with guarantees of significant game time and the right development environment. Nwaneri is too talented to just ship out to any club willing to take him. So there you have it. Gooners, 3 big stories showing Arsenal's transfer window is more active than expected. Now I want your opinions in the comments. Is Arsenal right to keep Ben White even with limited game time, or should we cash in while we can? Which club do you think Guehi will choose? Arsenal, Liverpool, City or Bayern? And should we loan out Nwaneri to get him game time or keep him for squad depth? Drop your thoughts below. Let's debate this properly. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications so you never miss Arsenal news. Thanks for watching, Gooners, and remember, come on you Gunners.